Well, hello everyone. It's Melinda Gallant and Cape Conversations. And as you can see, I'm in my favorite place in the whole wide world, a wine cellar. I am in the inner sanctum of the Daniel Webster Inn. I am in their very well-renowned and, wow, expensive bottles of wine cellar. So come along, join me. We're going to go behind the scenes at the Daniel Webster Inn, the jewel of the Sandwich Village. Hi, I'm here with Steve Catania. Now, what's your exact title, Steve?
Vice President, Catania Hospitality Group.
Okay, and Grand Poobah of the Daniel Webster Inn?
I used to be called the Big Cheese.
Yes, and then we decided we didn't like that, or you still like that?
No, it's kind of silly, but because when I left for a while and they stopped serving the cheese in the bar, when I came back, I brought the cheese back, so everyone called me the Big Cheese because I came back.
Can I tell you how wonderful it is that you brought that cheese back?
See?
I mean, I didn't. We stopped coming.
Really?
My husband and I
because of the cheese? Yeah, it was one of those silly things that made no sense to me. But you know, sometimes you have to do things that don't cost out as profitable, but because you can't measure the profitability of it. But the effect of that. Now, how can you measure the profitability of the fact that you didn't come anymore and other people weren't happy with it and they didn't come? And how much is that worth? You can't measure that. But well, that was what I thought when I came back.
Well, and so I think
so hence the cheese name.
Perhaps we can get you a banner. That you can
it was better than the rat who likes the cheese.
So. Yes, there we go. So we're here today sitting in this beautiful conservatory, which I want to call the consolium or the escansarium or something, but it is the conservatory.
Yeah. Conservatory doesn't quite fit because you think a conservatory with musical instruments and that kind of thing. But,
well,
but my dad liked that name and he thought it had an elegance to it.
Yeah,
and that's good.
it does.
Atrium is more like other people
maybe
call it.
That's what I think. Maybe it should be.
We have all sorts of names. Guests call it all sorts of great names.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, now tell me a little bit about the history of the Daniel Webster Inn. Now, I've lived in Sandwich 30 years, and I've heard that this is the second building, correct? Right. And are you the second owner or the third owner?
Oh, I can't even tell you how many owners that have been through, but we're the second owner since the rebuild. Is that what you mean? Yeah, we bought it in 1980.
Wow. And that's the year we moved to town.
Yeah, well, we wanted to be here.
Well,
I celebrate.
Yeah. That was it. You know, I've heard all kinds of stories from old Cape Codders, old Sandwichians, about how they used to sit in the bar after a selectmen's meeting, and there used to be a fireplace in there, and they'd sit in the bar and, you know, be drinking, and they'd bring down their mugs. And now, when you guys came in, you kind of revamped that a little bit and kind of got away from that part of it.
Well, we still have people come in and meet, and we do have tons of business groups or more some business groups that, you know, local town things, you know, the Sandwich Chamber, they come in, the selectmen meet, and the different committees in the government come. I think people feel like this is a good place to meet and do that. And you know, in the old days, back in a little before we got here, the Revolutionary War, a little bit before you got here. I know you're old, Steve, but you're not that. Wait, I want a second opinion. We have, you know, people would come and, you know, they'd meet and they couldn't drink, and so they would, after their meetings, they would go to different places, and the Patriots would come to it was called the Fessenden Tavern at the time, and they would come here, so that's sort of one of the things we brag about, because we're on the right side of that one.
Now, I heard a rumor, too, that Daniel Webster, when he used to go to Mashpee to fish, used to come.
Go to Mashpee to fish?
That's where they went, to Mashpee
Yeah,
to fish.
He came all over. He came, well, you know, I heard, I mean, I'm sure he went to a lot of different places, but he came to Sandwich, and he kept a room reserved for a month every fall for the last 30 years of his life, hunt and fish. And then after the development of the glass factory, he complained that they stole a lot of his good fishing places. But there's a lot of stories of him sitting out there writing some of his famous speeches in his mind while he was supposed to be fishing. One particularly, he had a fly rod, and his fly was caught in a tree, and he sat there for 30 minutes not even realizing it was up there because he was thinking about other things. But yeah, so that's in 1915 it was renamed Daniel Webster in his honor.
Is that right? That's great. That's great. Now, there's another Fessenden.
Did you know he was president for a while?
Yeah, but a short time.
Yeah, like 3 days.
Yeah, or something like that. there was another Fesden Inn across on the other side of the pond, but it was called Fesden Tavern, wasn't it?
Newcomb Tavern.
Newcomb Tavern.
And that's where the Tories met.
That's where the Tories met. Okay. I wanted to
That's
make
a
sure
beautiful property, a beautiful
it
home,
is.
gorgeous.
It is a beautiful, and it's a private home, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now, tell me, since you guys have owned it, you've made a lot of changes here. It's so beautiful. You've got the beautiful gardens. We're sitting in this room. The gardens are stunning in the summer. You have the pool, which is lovely. What about the rooms? You know, how many did you add rooms?
Yes, when we bought the property, it had 27 rooms, and now we have 48.
Wow. Does that include your B&Bs?
No.
No.
No,
okay.
that was separate ventures.
And now, do you have
Nope.
You don't have any B&Bs?
No, we're just all connected property now. Well, in the 82, 83, we bought the house next door, which is a Fessenden house, which was attached to the, a butt of the property, and that came with some land in the back. So we made 4 suites out of the antique building and added a wing to the back. And then since in the late 90s, we put a second story on this building right here, which added a bunch of rooms there. Actually, show you some of those rooms. Those we think are the best rooms in the house.
That's great. Now tell me a little bit. We're here to talk about the behind the scenes of the Daniel Webster Inn. What time is the staff here 24 hours a day?
We do have someone here 24 hours a day, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have, an auditor, and then early morning.
Yeah. And then
breakfast. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're open to the public for everybody and anybody.
And so now here's the interesting thing about your breakfast. Do you stop doing breakfast in the winter, or do you do it year-round?
No, we do it year-round.
See, and I thought you stopped doing it in the wintertime, so you couldn't come here but I could come here for breakfast at what, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock?
Well, we open at 8.
You open at 8.
But you could come at 7 and probably help make coffee and things.
You'd put me to work,
yeah.
right?
There are people
Get those
here.
muffins out there.
I don't think you'd want to be here at 7 o'clock.
No, probably. I'm late for everything.
But yeah, we are open to the public for breakfast, and it's a great place for breakfast. What room could be nicer than sitting in here? And I don't think our prices are. A lot of people think, oh, it's a hotel, so they have those Boston or city hotel prices. We don't. I think we're pretty competitive, and of course we have the culinary talents of chefs so that carries on into the breakfast food as well.
So everybody comes here around 7. They open up around
well,
7?
Some people come at 6:30, some people 7.
So it's
a staggered constantly. We're always trying to control the expenses. So
right. And how many staff members do you have?
We have about 125, and in the summer maybe up to 150.
You employ that many people?
Yeah.
How
a lot of them are part-time.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a fair amount. So
when I retire, I could maybe get a part-time job here?
That would be great.
Yes, can't you imagine?
I would love having you.
I would drive.
That's what we look for. We look for personalities, though.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, everybody on the staff seems so nice.
Yeah.
How many weddings do you do here? You must do zillions.
Well, I'd say not zillions, but we do maybe 40 weddings a year. I mean, big ones, and then we do smaller ones. When we bought the place, we could actually do larger weddings, but we reconfigured thinking that smaller, intimate dining rooms was more comfortable than a big, what I used to call the airport hangar.
Right.
But so we can do up to 150 people.
Wow.
And those doors open right there and they connect the rooms. I'm sure you've been here. You've been here for.
I've been here. Well, I'm a justice of the peace,
right,
so I've been very fortunate to officiate weddings.
Actually, you've done weddings in the garden room as well, so that's why you know the garden so
well. There, and I did one wedding here because there was a sudden cloudburst of rain and thunder and lightning. So you guys were so great. It was improvised and zing. The wedding took place in
Well, we do a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, when you're dealing with the weather, it gets kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing too, though, is when you look at the outside of this place, I mean, you have so many rhododendrons. I'm actually looking across the room at your fountain outdoors, which is so lovely. Do you go out there, you and your wife, Kathy? Do you go out and are you clipping grass?
No, but I do find that very interesting. So I spend a lot of time with our landscaper Michael and talk about what we want to do. And Michael Holcomb.
Yeah.
And he also oversees the landscape at the Cape Codder as well.
Wow.
But he's very artistic. He's got a great feel for plants and what works, and I don't know what works in this shade. I mean, he can grab a piece of dirt and look at it, squeeze it, and decide what it needs, and that kind of expert. But because he's been doing it so long, he likes unusual plants, and so do I.
Yeah.
So so I'm very encouraging in that area, and he's fantastic. He's got great.
You were telling me about the banana plant, which maybe we'll get a picture of in a little bit, but the banana plant, you had a huge banana plant, it had bananas, and then it died.
And then once the
it had
bananas
babies.
fell off, it died. And I guess that's very common with banana trees, that once it dies, then it
Did you
shoots
use
off
the
babies.
bananas for breakfast?
Well, they didn't ripen enough. We would have loved to. But you know, everyone goes by, looks at them, touches them, plays, and it was a huge bunch, and they just weighed too heavy, and it came off. And then now the babies have grown up, and one of them produced bananas as well. Again, that lasted for a while, and you know, it was probably there 3 or 4 weeks, and then that fell off too. So.
Really?
So we haven't been able to bring the bananas to complete growth, but we thought that would be fun to serve bananas Foster with our own bananas for at least one day.
Wouldn't that be kind of? I mean,
that would be cool.
I mean, that's true organic farming.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now you do a sort of. I know you have an Italian menu here as well.
For the winter time. Yeah.
Right. I mean, Catania. Hello.
Yeah. Well.
You know, a little bit of.
But I'll tell you the truth. My dad never wanted to touch Italian food because of that. So so we had to really fight with them a little bit because of that.
Well, but you also do organic things, do you not? Do you have some organic food?
Yeah, we have a special page on our menu, green palette, meaning, you know, green being green healthy and palette being artistic, so that's why we called it that. And we try to deal with alkaline balanced foods, all organic foods, healthy foods, and they've become quite popular. When we first introduced it, you know, it took a while to get going, and it was, again, one of those things you have to stick with. And when people find out, we always thought it would be great to have an opportunity. You know, everybody has a vegetarian in their family, someone they go, and you think, boy, I don't want to take them out to a steakhouse because you know they're not going to be happy there. So, and you know, we got kind of bored with the whole concept of just vegetables. Oh, vegetarian. Okay, we'll give them vegetables and rice, and that gets boring. Yeah. So let's say something creative and really work at it. So we had someone in town who we talked to, and the chef really got into it and really studied it and did a great job, and it's become quite popular.
Well, you have the best veggie burger in town.
And that was probably the beginning of it.
I mean, that is undoubtedly.
I think that has 21 different ingredients in it.
Oh, it is just
it really is good.
Scrumptious. Which brings me to the menu. You have a beautiful menu here which has a clipper ship on it. Now tell me about your menus. Everyone is different, is that correct?
Every one of our dinner menus is different. We decided to feature Cape Cod artists, so we sent out word to as many artists as we could, different places to submit a quality slide picture of one of their works of art, and we would feature them on our menu, and everyone is different, and within the menu, if you open the page, there's a little description of the artist on the front page, and this happens, coincidentally, you picked up the one that my dad did, which was one of the things that he didn't submit, we had to make him do it, but and then a little list of all the artists that are on the menus.
I know your dad recently passed away.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to know him, and I did go to the wake and stand in the line that went around the building, and around the building. Great guy, just
very creative. Had great creative ideas.
And I remember him as the epitome of a gentleman. Now, I don't know how he brought you kids up, but I find that you're a gentleman. Certainly, I know your other brother, your other two brothers. They seem very gentlemanly.
Well, we grew up in the hospitality business. You have to be.
Yeah, I mean, he was always gracious.
Yeah, very
nice,
gracious.
and I would always
he was a
call
good
him
role
sir,
model.
And he'd say, no, just call me VJ.
He had a presence. That's one of the things people spoke. He had a presence.
Yeah. He really, really did, and I'm sure he's missed, but I'm sure he's looking down on all of you, saying, okay, now why?
No, he's looking down, going, is that the best you can do? Can't you fix that? What's wrong with that? Did you notice this?
That would be good. That would be great. That's great. So, so you open the inn and you serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what do you find? What time does it kind of, like on a Saturday night? What time does the bar clear out? 11-ish. Although I know some people that would like to stay longer.
It depends on the how many people want to stay, but we'll 11 to 12. Not like it used to be back in the 80s. Remember, we used to have a piano player sing along, and gosh, we had to shut the bar down at 1 o'clock when just prior to 1 o'clock, and have people leave. The place was packed. Now, things have changed since then. And
do you have entertainment at all?
Yeah, we have a piano player during the day for brunch, and sorry, not during the day, for brunch and during dinner for the weekends when it's busy.
Well, that's good.
But we've had mixed reactions to that. Some people say, "Oh, I don't want to be so close to him," and other people, they're just happy with being here and you know, spending time with each other, and the music, we don't want it to dominate them, but...
Right. Well, Jim Silverman performed here.
Yeah, yeah. He was one of those entertainers that came in and met,
right.
You know.
I actually have been fortunate enough to perform here.
There you go. You probably with the same kind of thing, huh?
Yeah, and we've done a murder mystery here, and we did Wine, Women, and Song. And
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun things. Jane Ellis performed here.
Oh, yeah. Quite a few times, yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice to have this in our backyard.
Yeah.
There is no doubt that the Daniel Webster Inn is the centerpiece of the community and of the village center. There's just, I mean, you've got the Daniel Webster Inn, you've got the town hall. I mean, two of the most beautiful buildings, you know, really.
Yeah, it's nice to be. We take that very seriously and with great pride that we're a part of the community, and we try to do many things. Yeah.
Now, do you have family members working here with you?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have?
We have my daughter is in charge of.
Bethany.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I do know Bethany.
Catering and she grew up in the business. She grew up, you know, as long as she's been alive. We've been a part of this since she was 2. And I remember her walking through the dining room once, and she was like 6 years old. She stopped, like to see how the silverware is right now. And she stopped and fixed the silverware like this. And the waitress came. I said, "Oh, don't touch the silverware." She goes, Bethany looked at it. And I was 6-year-old. Said, "Well, it was crooked. I had to straighten it." Precocious, I guess, was the word.
Well, that would be a good word.
She's learned nicer ways to say that. Well, she was nice,
she was probably right.
But yeah, she was right. And we've had people at first, you know, realize that she really does know what she's doing. She's very bright.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know I've worked with her certainly as a JP, and she's done wonderful things. And
she's very hospitable.
We compare our brides. So, you know, because as I say, she has the back of the house, I do the front of the house.
There you go.
So,
yeah,
you know, that's great. So we're going to move from here. And we're going to go to the behind the scenes in the kitchen with Chef Eric Fine. Is that
Eric
correct?
Fine, correct.
Eric Fine and Miss Lydia, your pastry chef.
There you go.
Very exciting. We're in the kitchen. Now, as Steve told me so distinctly, he said absolutely nobody comes back here. It's like going to Disney World and you never see, you know, Mickey Mouse without his head on.
It becomes very dangerous, actually.
Yes, and he has knives.
That's right, yes.
And also, they have allowed us to come in, and I am with the famous chef, the executive chef, Poobah, Eric Fine. Eric Fine.
Hello.
All right, so Eric, what are we cooking today?
Okay, today we are making a French brie sauce with crab meat.
Yum,
and I'm going to add some chives and some fresh thyme. Yeah, so I have a lot of things going on here. I have making a marsala sauce in the background, but right in that small kettle.
You mean that wine's not for you to drink?
Well, maybe. We'll see. And I'm going to cook off some vegetables. I'm going to be skinning some salmon also. So I'm just going to cut these chives up quickly. And I will look at the camera while I'm cutting, because in case I go blind, I can still do my job.
There you go.
That's good. I'll add the fresh herbs right at the end, because that way they keep their color and look a little nicer in presentation-wise.
Now that sauce, sauce is going to go on that salmon.
No, it's actually not, which is that's the confusing part.
Oh, okay.
It's actually going to go on a piece of sole, fillet of sole, which we get most of our fish from Georgia Banks.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll be doing for a lunch special.
Excellent.
Yes.
Looks delicious.
Okay, this is the finished product, fillet of sole. It's with an egg batter, and then it's sautéed, and then it's baked in the oven and served with green beans with roasted shallots and a crab brie sauce with crab over the top, garnished with some fresh dill, and that's it.
So I am now with Lydia, Miss Lydia.
Yes.
I'll call you Miss Lydia. Lydia, oh Lydia. Okay. Anyway, I won't say. Lydia, you are the pastry chef. How long have you been here as the pastry chef?
I have been here as a pastry chef for about 4 years, but I've been with the company since 1996.
Wow, wow. And how did you learn to be a pastry chef?
I worked with a pastry chef that was here prior to me for a while and kind of learned by watching and doing myself, so.
Excellent, excellent. And what are you preparing today?
Today I'm making tiramisu. layered my first layer of ladyfingers, and which is dipped in espresso and marsala wine and brandy, so it's not a child's dessert.
Well, it is if you want your child to sleep.
Yeah, it's good. If you want to knock them out.
You want to just make them quiet.
I should try that.
There you go.
Yeah. And I prepared my topping, which I need to fold the heavy cream into.
Who gets to lick that? Anybody or no?
I usually save it for Steve Catania.
Is that
so,
yeah,
he likes to taste everything. So he's my taste tester.
Oh my gosh, you got to have a lot of
I bench press my
muscles.
9-year-old at home. So
there you go.
It's good. So I prepare the topping and fold whipped cream into it, and then I'm going to spread it over my ladyfingers, and it's a very exciting process. But you do have to have very large biceps.
I was going to say that's a huge kettle for that.
Yeah. So,
And that's a commercial KitchenAid.
yes.
KitchenAid.
And you always have to fold things gently, because otherwise you break things, and you don't want to break things. Because then you screw up the entire dessert, and that's never good.
How many servings of tiramisu will you be making?
48. Measure out my topping with...
And how much topping is that?
It's about 1.5 to 2 quarts. And you have to kind of eyeball it a bit to make sure that you get the same amount in each pan. But I've been doing it for so long that it's pretty easy. So I'll just show you one pan. You get your spreader. So,
Oh, very cheap little plastic thing.
yeah. And you spread it evenly throughout the whole pan. And try and get it in all the corners, so.
And then it absorbs it, sort of?
Well, what the ladyfingers have already pretty much absorbed the espresso mixture, so this actually just sits on top of it and almost creates like a layer cake.
Oh.
So you do that, and the middle section doesn't have to look all pretty because you're not going to see it. So do that, and then we dredge the top of that in cocoa powder, which is right here. And I'm very liberal with the cocoa powder because it gives it a nice look on the inside of the tiramisu.
How long do you let them soak, the ladyfingers? How
You
long?
don't let them, you actually dip them very quickly because this is going to take 24 hours to set up.
I see.
So it's pretty much going to do the rest of the absorbing when it's in the pan.
I gotcha.
So after we do that, then we do the next layer of the ladyfingers, which I won't show you exactly how to make the whole entire dessert because it might take forever. Right. But the cocoa powder is great because it makes it so the ladyfingers, when you put them down, they don't stick.
Ah.
And
so, do you do another layer on top of that, or
do
no?
another layer of the cream on top of the ladyfinger.
Yum.
This tiramisu, which you guys get to eat if you want. So,
not that I need this for breakfast, but
Got eggs in it, you're all right.
what do you
Yeah, it
think?
does.
You
It
know,
has eggs.
I think it looks gorgeous.
so.
Thank you. Well, now we've been to the kitchen, we've been to the conservatory, we've been to the kitchen, we've seen how they make all kinds of great stuff. Well, now we're in a dirty room. Now I want everybody who's listening to think about this, that every time you leave a hotel room in a huge mess, somebody has to clean it up. And here with me is Candace Chipman. Come over here, Candace. Sit on the bed with me. So, Candace, tell me, how long does it take to clean up a room like this?
This room, done top to bottom, probably about 25 minutes.
25 minutes. And you have your handy-dandy helper here. Who's this?
Lila.
Lila. Hi, Lila. And so, do you have to get down on your hands and knees and scrub every corner?
Absolutely. Scrub the grout, get it all clean.
Excellent. And sometimes are the rooms just a shambles?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. They both said absolutely. Oh my gosh. So, and this is one of the fine suites here at the Daniel Webster that Steve was talking about. And of course, you know, here at the Daniel Webster, you have, let's see, you have all these beautiful rooms. Mm-hmm. You have the restaurant. You have the wonderful tavern. You've got great food. You've got a spa. What else do you have? I mean, that's a pool outside in the summer. I think I might come this summer and do my vacation right here.
You should.
I live about 3 blocks away, but I think it would be a good thing.
It would be great.
Maybe I can get a good deal. Anyway, This room is just lovely. It has a fireplace. It's a gas fireplace, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure you have a flat screen TV behind there or something, and a desk and free Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh. I'm sold. I'm here. And I promised that I would leave the room nice and neat and clean. And I hope they give you tips.
Well, sometimes they do.
Well, they should. And like you should. Is she generous? Does she share the tips?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. As long as she's sharing. All right.
Very
Great.
good boss.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. I'm going to leave you to it.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go see a room that's all finished and gorgeous. It has been so terrific to be here to see behind the scenes of the Daniel Webster Inn. Steve, I want to ask you a couple of questions, though, before we leave you. We've seen the dirty room. This is absolutely the most gorgeous room I think I've ever seen in my life, and I actually have gotten to stay in some pretty nice places.
Thank you.
But this is just stunning. Is this your presidential suite or honeymoon suite? Or?
This is the room that honeymooners most prefer, and it's my most popular room.
Excellent. And it must be quiet in here, too, as well, right?
You only have one wall that abuts anything.
Right.
Even the room below us is a meeting room, so it's all usually empty.
And you
but
have
it has the
outdoor
wraparound deck, and it's got the beautiful views of the gardens and the yards.
Oh, it's just stunning, and the bed is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is that an antique bed or?
No, that's
a
a reproduction.
Wow.
But
it's great. A reproduction. You would never know that it was a reproduction. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I want to thank you, and I want to ask you, last but not least, tell me about the Beach Plum Spa.
Well, we have 6 treatment rooms. We have pedicures, manicures. We have quite a menu of treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's open to everybody, again, just like the restaurant. It's not open just to our guests. And
so it's open to anybody. In other words, I could go down and get a nice massage and have
a lot of people in town do take advantage of it.
Right. Well, I'll be honest. I did. I was given as a gift. I felt very special.
You are special.
Well, I felt special this day because I got to have a facial. I know it didn't do that much work, but we're working on it. Anyway, it was just absolutely fabulous. The Beach Plum Spa right here at the Daniel Webster Inn. And my gosh, people who live close to town could park their car, have lunch, go to the spa, or go to the spa and go back and have a nice lunch and a glass of wine, and whew,
there you go.
good time. All right.
Let's go do that instead of this.
I think you're right. Steve, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
coming.
You were
Good to see
great.
you.
And the place is beautiful. Everybody, please, this is the jewel of our community. We should definitely make it purpose to come down here and say hello to Steve. You're here most of the time, right?
Many people do, so
Excellent.
we appreciate that. We have a lot of friends in town.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks so much. And thank you for joining me today for another Cape Conversation.